A few weeks ago, we started building our mountain bike trail with a creek jump. The next part of the line is going to be a berm right after the jump, but when I started digging it, I found out very quickly I was going to need a pickaxe to break through the hard clay and roots on the surface. So instead, today we are going to be taking advantage of this nice creek and making an entrance to a more technical line that will intertwine with the original line. While the jump line enters right next to the first tabletop of the dirt jumps, this line will enter right next to the roll-in. I noticed this entrance to the woods when I was planning out the original line. It is relatively open and shouldn't take too much work to clear. Thankfully, my friend Bailey let me borrow his power tools, so no more hacking down branches with a machete. A sawzall works much better. Luckily, there isn't much grass in this area of the woods, so a broom works perfect for moving all the dead leaves out of the way. Today we are going to be building a skinny bridge over the creek with a little something different to it. My goal for this bridge is to have a bit of a bounce to it. Therefore, the only parts of the bridge that are secured in the ground are going to be the very ends of this 16-foot long 2x6. I wanted this skinny bridge to have a bit of a bounce to it just to add a little bit of uniqueness to the trail. For the legs, I dug down around 8 inches on each side and attached them to the board for the bridge. Once the legs were attached, I added some supports to give the bridge more stability. It was starting to get too dark for the camera, so I called it a night. When I came back out, I decided I was going to add some concrete around the base to ensure that this wasn't going to flip over on anyone. So I dug out the holes a bit wider and fit a new triangular base for the legs. While I was at it, I also added a 2x4 to the back of each leg for some extra support. With the legs done, it was time for concrete. Well, until I noticed I was a lot closer to the tree than I thought. With only a few inches of bar clearance, I decided to move this side of the bridge a few inches to the right. With the easy cut of this small tree, a little bit of digging, and using my camera as a level to make sure it was flat since I forgot to bring a level, the legs were done. The bridge holds my weight pretty well, but just in case some of my friends come to ride that are a bit heavier than me, I added some spare 2x4s I had laying around to the bottom to stiffen up the bridge just a bit, which felt much better walking over it after they were added. When walking over the bridge, I noticed the creek had quite a few rocks hidden under the leaves. If someone had to bail off the side, they could very easily roll their ankle or damage their bike if it were to fall straight onto a rock. So I hopped in and raked the leaves off the surface to reveal the rocks and pulled them out. These will make a nice addition later on to hide the legs once the skinny is finished. With everything else done, I had to decide how wide I wanted to make the planks to go across the skinny bridge. I wanted to make it skinny enough to be a challenge, but not too skinny to where you're having to jump off your bike every other try. And with how tight the turn is into it, we'll definitely be pedaling across it. So after eyeballing it, since I didn't have a tape measure with me, I decided to go with around 10-inch wide planks. For the back end of the bridge, I just used a piece of scrap wood I had laying around to make a small decline off of it. For the entrance to the bridge, I used the rocks that I grabbed out of the creek bed to outline a small dirt ramp. And with that, the bouncy skinny bridge was finished. I'd never really ridden the skinny before this, so it took me a few tries to get the hang of it, but after that, it felt great. The bounce gives the bridge a really weird and different feel to it. That's going to be the point of this line. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.